Here we go, here we go, here we go. This is up here. Still battling away in the bottom, middle, high, low. And I wish I could say we had more chips than we do top middle, but this is what happened, guys. The old M6 Jam UTG had the kings, called it off, and he got there, and we lost a big pot. We are in the money. And just had to check there was nothing silly going on there. Just slid the HUD out of the way and saw the good news. Of course, if you're just joining in, you don't know what's happening from last part. We are on a small final table for high-low here. 1 of 4 now, which is kind of good. The table's been pretty tight too. It's actually been very, very tight. It's pretty close bottom left. Probably don't really need to be opening that. We're almost at the end of the rebuy period. The guy on the buttons, small blinds, probably going to jam a lot. The guy in the big blind kind of defends wide. Having said that, I mean, we get such a good flop. Obviously, I'm going to see about it. Obviously, he's going to snap. So I think I'm going to bet again here. I mean, he probably has ace high a lot here. Can we fold it? That's the question. I'm going to try. You don't know if you don't try, right? Oh, we have the best hand. The question is, can we value bet? Can we value bet here? I guess just in case. I mean, you're probably going to call a small bet with ace high, but I mean, he could have hit the king on the turn and decided now to let us barrel, or he could have been trapping and letting us barrel off with a hand. And I don't know that he's always calling ace high. You know, he's not necessarily always calling it. If we know for sure he's just never folding ace high, then of course we're going to always value bet. Always. But I don't know if he's going to call river with that, which makes the value bet a little bit thin. You know, because we're starting, if he's not calling with ace high, we're starting to run out of hands that... well, yes and no. I mean, you can have small pairs. You could have flopped the bottom pair on the flop. So, yeah. It's a bit nitty by me, wasn't it? A bit nitty. Let it not be a sign of things to come, that nittiness, huh? Yeah, I might as well pop this up here, I guess. Yes, that is 888 Poker refusing to open. And I'm spitefully not restarting my computer to play it. If it doesn't open, I'm just going to take that as a sign that it's not going to be a good day to play on there. Actually, they've had a lot of DC problems lately. Yeah, if you don't know what DC is, it's drunken Caucasians. There's been a lot of drunk white people playing, and yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thing if there are people playing drunk. It is the festive season coming up, and in all seriousness, just you got to get on the gravy train because it is just soft. But don't tell anyone that. Keep it a secret. Let's just keep it between us. But from November until February online is, as a strong Australian player's name is aptly named, his screen name, the Gold Mine. I think I'm going to raise here because this guy's really tight. I'm certainly not really raising because we have a monster, because it's not the case. And of course now he's calling because I've said that. Actually, I think I am going to bet here. I think he's going to have like a low combo a lot, like a 4, 5, 7, 8 type of 2, 3. So I think I'm going to bet just because, well, our hand is pretty ugly, firstly. So if he folds, it's good. And secondly, I think if he's got that sort of hand, I don't think he has many hands like this where he's going to shove. I mean, because he didn't 3-bet pre. So it's kind of a bit surprising. He's been pretty tight though, so definitely going to give him credit. I mean, I guess he could have ace king 10-10 or something. He just doesn't want to re-raise with pre but calls, or ace king 7-8. Ace king 7-8 makes a lot of sense. He's probably got a hand like that. But I do think a lot of the time I felt like he's going to have some sort of yeah, I think I will continue to raise on him. But if he's going to make my life tough by calling with the big stack, I'm certainly going to want to rethink that strategy. That's what he appears to be doing. This is a very polarizing board, so I think we can just bet pretty small. We've got a million hands going on here, and this guy attacking us. It's pretty sick. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we're going to have to fold. It's pretty annoying. Sorry guys, just had about a gazillion hands going on all at once there. Well, not a gazillion, but quite a lot. Got the mother of all hands here. Ace 2-5. You know, it's pretty close to the nuts in terms of you know, ace 2-3 is the nuts. We don't have any suits though, but we do have spades, which is a huge flop for us. An overpair with spades, and he's probably going to fold a lot here, I think. But he does call very light. That is a, I mean, that is a light call. But he does have the. I mean, we haven't been that aggressive, so. Ace 4 is almost going to be always dead for the low, and he's only got a pair of sixes for the high. Yeah, I mean, it is only three-handed, so I mean, we could just have ace 10-9 or something. And so it's pretty borderline for him. Pretty borderline. I guess given the stack depth, I mean, it's going to be hard to escape. I guess it's not that bad. I was just kind of surprised because he's been a little bit tight, you know. And that's probably a good result for us because, I mean, not a good result for us because I'd rather just get heads up with this guy. Yeah, in fact, you know, it's kind of hard playing this game when it's three-handed. I mean, because it's kind of a bit consuming. So I would actually probably just deal with these guys actually, even just to get this over and done with. It's not. It's only for small money, and I've got a lot of tables going on, and quite a decent flop because we've got the second nut low and a pair, backdoor flush, running straight, and I mean just got there. Well, I mean just hung on. Yeah, I am finding it pretty hard to focus here. I might see if this guy wants to chop. Just because I don't want to play heads up. I mean, heads up is just, it takes a lot of concentration. Well, not a lot, but you guys know what I mean. I mean, I got a lot of tables going on, and I don't really need. I don't really need to be fighting over, you know, the last. I mean, it's 455 for first, 307 for second. Pretty even in chips. He's not a donk, this guy. We have an edge, but you know, we can make a few dollars EV wise probably, but it's probably going to cost us a few dollars EV wise while we're busy. While I'm busy making donkey plays on the other tables. You know, so let's just get it done. Get it done. This guy said deal, and yet he's still playing. And that is actually quite tilting. And hopefully he's not playing me for a fool. I hope he's not playing me for a fool. Because sometimes these guys do that. Because it's actually not a bad strategy. You know, obviously I would never do it in a table like this unless I only had a few tables going. But you can actually like hint at the idea of a deal, or if other players are hinting at it, you can actually pick up the aggression a lot during that period, because a lot of the times they kind of get a bit thrown out by the fact that there's a deal imminent, well, potentially, and they get a little bit sort of, well, I don't want to donk off my chips now because I'm about to get X amount of dollars. And sometimes I actually use that to my advantage. I know all the players are talking about a deal, and they're like, hey, Acesup, you're there, we want a deal. And I just kind of ignore them. Or maybe just type a little bit of chat, but then just stop and don't say anything. I mean, you don't have to be I mean, you can be if you want to be, but you don't have to be a bastard about it. I mean, you don't have to say, yeah, guys, let's deal. Well, I mean, it gets any strategy, any advantage you can get, right? It's like if it's a big tournament, I think there's a big tournament, I actually might have done that before, where I'm like, who hasn't checked the box? Come on, guys, who hasn't checked the box? But really, I haven't checked the box. And everyone's just playing tight because they think there's a deal about to start. And you're just stealing all the blinds. And I think once you start stealing enough blinds, they start realizing, okay, this is the guy that hasn't got the box checked. But, you know, it's war out there. So, it's any advantage you can get, I guess, right, guys? This is pretty ugly. I just think I'm going to call on the jack and just river a full house. Let's see, best way to do it, because it just keeps it simple, you know? Because it was not a lot of thinking to do with a full house in the river. Be Paris, boss, bottom left. But he does. He does have a split personality. One day he's raising every hand, and the next day he's an absolute nit. This guy's 3-betting a lot. We got King 10 suited, which is a nuts. From late position. I probably couldn't get any more standard than that, to be honest. I mean, if you're ever going to 4-bet the King 10 suited, if you're ever going to 4-bet light, King 10 suited is the hand that you're going to be doing it with. So here's a bit of an interesting one for you guys. So this guy's raised, and he's very loose stealing, but I didn't want to 3-bet jam because I don't think we have a lot of fold equity. But at the same time, I mean, the pot odds are pretty huge. Yes, we will be dominated some of the time, but we're only M5. You know, so we've got to find a way to get some chips. So it's not like when you're a bit deeper and calling with King 5 off is bad, because if the King flops, oh my God, he's going to be firing multiple streets. It's going to be really hard to know what to do. Is he bluffing us? Are we going to pay off with a bad kicker like a donkey? But all those considerations really go out the window in that instance. What's important to consider is he's opening very wide from late position. We probably have the right price to call with king 5 off. And, worst case scenario, if he just so happened, that he does have a king and we both flop the king, well, I mean, it's not really a huge mistake because we only had a pretty small stack post flop to lose. We didn't have a big deep stack with big negative implied odds. But what did happen is we did flop the king and we found ourselves a way just to get a little more chips in our pocket and keep ourselves afloat, which is really important. We picked up a few M and now we're back up to M8. And it's really important to keep that in mind when you're at that stack size when you get short. You can make some of those sort of calls that look a bit gross. They do look a bit gross sometimes because you're like, how does he call there and not jam? But just keep in mind that at the end of the day, it does come down to the pot odds a lot of the time like that. And three and a half, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's just raise 3.5 on 27. Oh. Oh wow, that is good. Wow. Oh, yeah. A lot of tables beeping at me. So there's probably not too much point betting bottom middle. I mean, it's a pretty gross spot actually. This is such a gross spot here. It seems like he has. It seems like he has the queen, but I don't think he's going to bet a 5 like that. And he could have ace high or hearts as well, and we're getting a pretty good price. So I couldn't quite get myself to lay it down. I think, but I do think it's really close. So yeah, I'm obviously just jamming top middle, just like to get to end the tournament. Just get the chips in, and just get it over and done with as soon as fast as possible. Which isn't always easy in high low with the split pots. And so I think I'm just going to jam now. So it was definitely debatable. The hand. Yeah, I mean it was very close to the A7 suited, because he did bet very big on the river, so it's yeah, it's pretty close. And I think we got it done now, so we're out of there. Back to the insanity. I think I'll bring in center up the 100 rebuy. That's a fun tourney. And bring in the 33 rebuy perhaps. Yeah, just had a bit of a meltdown there. Just found it hard to keep up for a minute. Back on top of things now. Yeah, I don't really care too much about TLBs. I'm not a TLB racer or anything, so if it was a big tournament, you know, if it was like 100 rebuy, I might still play it out properly just for the prestige of winning it officially. 25. I think same as before, I'm going to make the messy call here. And what a flop this is. What the flop? I think I'm just going to jam. I mean, it's just hard to play this hand badly, right? I mean, we've got a pair with a flush draw. Maybe if we check, you know, he might bet with like king queen and then call off, so that could be a mistake. Yeah, actually, I definitely should have just bet. There was a bit of a meltdown. I'm still in meltdown phase. So I've kind of raised on the button here to induce this play. Wow, but it's so sick at this stack depth. Wow, so sick. But this guy opens a lot. He's aggressive. We're on the button. It's so gross because it looks like he's inducing. But, you know, he might be folding like he was. I mean, he still could induce with some hands that we do okay against ace, king, ace, queen and stuff. It's a pretty sick. I think I might have some useful notes on that guy if I had have checked them. Yeah, so, I mean, we know he's aggressive. He's pretty good, that guy, actually. But yeah, I definitely played the 7-9 as probably as badly as possible. I think I played that as bad as you can, is to call flop and then just shove flop. Call pre and then shove flop is probably the worst way to play it. I got a little bit carried away thinking that we were short. I got a little bit too carried away. We weren't actually that short. We still had an SPR2 on the flop. I thought we were actually very tiny stacked, but the best way to play that hand is to either check flop and try and induce a bet, a small bet, or just a shove, and then jam it in. The other thing you can do is lead tiny. You know, just lead like almost for the min. Well, just over min, but just an amount where, you know, he's going to feel compelled to call, and he might even just think you're doing sort of a fishy donk bet, and he might even just shove over the top with overcards kind of thing, or any pair. Definitely much better way of playing it, and let's just forget that ever happened. Just erase that one. Let's just erase that one from our minds. This is actually a pretty good tournament, the 22 action hour. Wow, look at this. And this is, see how all these boxes are coloured? That means there's notes, there's regular players. I've got notes on them all. And then look at all the busted players. Surprise, surprise. All the guys I don't have notes on that are fish. And the purples. You know, that's just a classic scenario, you know. Jump in for 22 bucks, try and go on a run. You don't, you bust. You know, back to an old, have a vodka. Chill out. That's just the way these guys get it done. Well, that's just the way these guys don't get it done, but contribute to the pool. I wasn't particularly referencing, the vodka reference there wasn't particularly aimed at Russians. You know, actually Russians apparently don't drink that much vodka. So, you know, I was just in general speaking to people that are sort of just casual, relaxed players, having a bit of fun. Maybe kick back with a couple of buds, have a beer, have a vodka, jump into the 22 action hour, see if you can, you know, run up a stack. But you don't, you do your stack, you don't even rebuy, you know, you just contribute to the pool and then fold. Bottom left, I mean, I think getting the price we're getting, probably a call is okay. We could even have actually beefed it up a bit there. And that is the mother of all flops, top right. We have flopped the nuts with a nut low draw. And I think I'm just going to have to raise this one. Not too big. But I think if he's got a low hand, he's definitely going to call. And I think this Budnikov guy is a little bit sticky. So that's always a bonus as well. You know, if he's got ace-2, he's in a tough spot because he doesn't really want to fold the nut low. And unfortunately he gives up. So I still think it's okay. I mean, we could have check-called. We definitely could check-call if we think he's going to barrel. And he is kind of aggressive, so he definitely might barrel. Wow. All of a sudden I want to raise here all of a sudden. I was almost going to raise there and try and rep, you know, like some slow played hand or a turn set of 5s. It's obviously a really thin really thin range to be repping. But I just don't think they think that we're going to bluff in that spot. And therefore they might have to just give us credit if we barrel it off there. Raise turn, and then, I mean, it looks strong if we raise turn. But they might think that we're doing it on draw. That's the only scary thing. So they might think we picked up a ton of outs for the flush draw. So it's pretty close, but we could definitely turn our hand into a bluff because they look like they have pretty capped ranges when the flop goes check check. But this Nico A8 guy is quite sticky, so, you know, I didn't quite want to bet flop. But it's pretty hard for him to continue to a turn raise barrel river. So we're 37 to 44 in the big 75 now. Just getting quite short stacked. After that misplayed hand before, where we flopped huge and didn't get any value, we forced the guy to play correctly. Small brain meltdown. Let's see if we can make some good decisions. Yeah. Don't mind a 3-bet actually there. Yeah, I think I might have gone for a 3-bet. A little bit more time bank. Just out of the zone a bit at the moment. Get back into the zone, please. Next break will be a good one. Probably jam the 10-5. Well, I mean, it's a pretty easy jam if it folds to us. Of course, not as a 3-bet jam. M4, very little fold equity if we jammed over the top of someone, but definitely first in as a jam with one player behind, it's going to be super profitable. In fact, you could even jam it up to M9 if you were feeling like it. But I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't jam it beyond M7. Well, 8, yeah. Somewhere around there. Somewhere around there. At some point I'm just gonna, before we get to M9, I'm just gonna raise to fold. So yeah, I think the story of this level has kind of been missed value. Let's try not to make a habit of doing that as we get even deeper in these tourneys. But you know, we are still doing okay in that 100 rebuy. We do still have a few chips to play with. 42 of 111. 9.6 up top. Long way to go. So that's the wrap up, guys. Obviously still a lot of tables going and more action come. But for this, that is the end of this chapter.